Imagine you are an investor. You put money into a company, a real company listed on Nasdaq, audited, regulated, the whole thing. The growth numbers are insane. The stores are packed. The app has millions of users. Everything checks out. And then one day you wake up and find out 40% of the revenue you invested in never existed. Not a bad quarter, not an accounting mistake, fabricated on purpose for months. The company gets exposed, gets delisted, gets destroyed in every newspaper on the planet. Every analyst says the same thing: it's over. And then, quietly, while nobody's watching, the company opens more coffee shops than Starbucks. In China, the more brutal, the competitive consumer market on the earth. I'm Hazy, and I need you to understand this is not a fraud story. Everyone covered the fraud. That's dead news. This is the story of what happened after. The comeback nobody reported. The one that should not have been possible. This is the Monarch Report. Before we go anywhere, let me plant something in your head. A small detail you will think it's nothing right now, but remember it. In 2017, the founders of Luckin Coffee sat in a room and made a decision that they believed would make them the biggest company in China. Actually, the biggest coffee company in China. And that decision worked, just not in the way they planned. Now, the scene 2018, China, coffee culture is just starting to take hold. Starbucks has been there since 1999. Nearly 20 years. 3,000 stores, a brand so embedded in Chinese urban life that it's basically a status symbol. You don't go to Starbucks for coffee, you go to be seen going to Starbucks. And then Luckin shows up. No menu board, no cash register, you order on your phone, coffee at your desk in under 18 minutes. And price 30% cheaper than Starbucks every time. Within 18 months, Luckin has more stores in China than Starbucks had built in 20 years. Listen that again. 18 months versus 20 years. Year 2019. Luckin listed on Nasdaq. IPO raises $651 million. The stock nearly doubled within weeks. Analysts start calling it the Starbucks killer. And investors from BlackRock to Singapore sovereign wealth fund are in. And if you're watching from the outside, you would have believed every word of it. The stores were real, the app was real, the coffee was real. The revenue was not. To understand what Luckin did and how they survived it, you have to understand who built it. Charles Lu Zhengyao, already a billionaire before Luckin existed. He built China's biggest car rental company using pure speed and aggression. Raise money fast, grow fast, dominate before anyone can react. It worked once. He believed it would work again. He looks at Starbucks in China and sees one thing: a premium brand charging premium prices in a market that is not fully converted yet. Chinese people historically drink tea. The coffee habit is new. The market is not locked. His logic was, if I move fast enough and cheap enough, I own coffee in China before Starbucks wakes up. So the entire Luckin model is built around one goal: not profit, customer acquisition. Free cups on sign up, deep discounts on every order, referral bonuses, basically giving away coffee to get you hooked on the app. The idea, once you are addicted, once the habit is built, once Luckin is the default, then you raise prices. It's the Amazon playbook. Lose money now, win the market, and profit later. And Wall Street bought it completely because they had seen it work. But here is what was actually happening. The real revenue numbers, even with millions of real users, were not growing fast enough for the story they were selling to investors. The growth was real, just not real enough. So the COO Jenny Kyonjia and a network of executives made a decision. They start padding the numbers. Not rounding up, not optimistic forecastings, fake transactions, fabricated customer orders, money cycling in circles. then reported as genuine revenue to Nasdaq, to auditors, to investors worldwide. $310 million in fake sales in one fiscal year. Employees were submitting ghost orders using fake accounts and burner phones. The company was running a fraud operation inside a real business simultaneously. And for months, nobody caught it. Not the auditors, not the analysts doing the due diligence, not the institutional investors with their research teams. Which tells you something to talk about how financial markets actually work. But that comes later. Year 2020, January. A short seller research firm called Muddy Waters received an anonymous package. 89 pages, detailed, specific, full of internal transaction records, employee testimonies, and story level data. Someone inside Luckin had been collecting evidence for months. Muddy Water publishes it publicly. Now understand what Muddy Water does. They are not journalists, they short a company stock, meaning they bet money that it will crash and then publish research explaining why. They had a direct financial interest in Luckin being exposed, but that doesn't mean they were wrong. The stock drops 11% on the day of publication. Luckin's management comes out immediately. They called the report false and misleading, they deny everything, and the stock recovers. People believe the company over the short seller. On April 2020, Luckin's own board, their internal special committee, quietly announces they have been conducting an internal investigation, and they confirm every word of it. Fabricated transactions, $310 million, their own COO orchestrated it. The stock loses 80% of its value in a single trading day. Investors who believed the denial 3 months earlier wiped out. The COO is suspended, then terminated, and multiple senior executives follow. Nasdaq begins delisting proceedings, the SEC opens a formal investigations, Chinese regulators open their own, and Charles Liu, the founder, gets removed from the company he built. The board votes him out. He is no longer allowed through the door. By June 2020, Luckin Coffee is officially delisted from Nasdaq. They settle with the SEC for $180 million. Bloomberg, Forbes, the Wall Street Journal, everyone publishes the same headline: Luckin Coffee is finished. And here is the detail I planted at the beginning. The decision in that room in 2017, they decided to grow at any cost. That decision created the fraud. The fraud destroyed the leadership, and destroying the leadership, that's what saved the company. While every obituary was being written, the stores stayed open. I want you to sit with that for a second. A company just admitted to $310 million in a fabricated revenue, criminal investigations on 2 continents, mass media coverage globally. The baristas showed up for their shift anyway, because the actual business worked. The stores were operationally profitable, the app had tens of millions of real users, people genuinely liked the coffee. The fraud was in the reporting, not the product. The new board, now cleared of the people who built the fraud, faced a choice: wind it down and pay back what they could, or fix it. The man who stepped in to stabilize was Gao Jingyi, quiet, operational, not a visionary founder type, and executor. He made 3 decisions that changed everything. Decision 1: kill the cash burn. Under the old leadership, Luckin was spending fortunes on free cups and heavy discounts, giving away products to acquire users. That stops immediately. No more free coffees, prices inch up, the users who only came for the giveaways, gone. That's fine, they were not profitable anyway. Decision 2: restructure the debt. Luckin files for Chapter 15 bankruptcy protection in the US. International restructuring mechanism. This doesn't mean closing down. It means negotiating with creditors without being forced to liquidate. They reach agreements, they cut the bleeding, they stabilize the balance sheet. Decision 3: go where Starbucks is not. The old Luckin chased premium locations, high-rent malls, flagship city centers, competing directly on Starbucks ground. The new Luckin abandons that entirely. Smaller stores, lower rent, Tier 2 and Tier 3 Chinese cities, places like Zhengzhou, Chengdu, Harbin, where the coffee habit is growing but no Western brand has bothered to show up yet. And here is the thing that generally fascinates me about this story: the fraud, criminal, damaging, inexcusable, accidentally performed surgery on the company. The people running the fraud were also the people spending recklessly, building a culture of fakery, prioritizing optics over operations. When the scandal forced them out, the company lost its cancer. The rebuild was not despite the scandal, it was because of it. And I have never seen this frame that way anywhere, and I don't know what to do with this morally. But the numbers don't care about my discomfort. Let me give you the numbers, because I verified these multiple times and they still feel impossible. At the end of 2020, Luckin has roughly 3,900 stores, still operating through all of it. By the end of 2021, they report their first profitable quarter. A company that admitted to 310 million in fraud is now making money. By the end of 2022, they opened 2,000 new stores in a single year, not total, new in 1 year. And by the end of 2023, Luckin Coffee has over 16,000 locations across China. Starbucks, China, 6,800. Luckin has more than doubled. And in 2023, for the first time in history, Luckin overtakes Starbucks in quarterly revenue in China. The company declared dead in 2020 is now generating more money in China than the most recognized coffee brand on the planet. How does that happen? Part of it is price. Luckin stays at roughly 15 to 25 yuan per cup. Starbucks is 35 to 50, sometimes more. In a country where a huge middle class is price conscious and still forming its habits, that gap is enormous. But the smarter play is the data. Luckin's app only model means they know everything. What you ordered, when, how often, what promotion made you come back. They use the data to send personalized coupons at exactly the moment you are most likely to buy. It sounds simple, it works obsessively well. And then they did something that Starbucks would generally never think to do. In September 2023, Luckin partnered with Motai, China's most famous baijiu liqueur, to create a sauce-flavored latte. Now, before you make that face, we have to understand what Motai means in China. Motai is not just alcohol, it's drink at government banquets, the gift you bring to seal a deal, the bottle on the table at wedding that signals the family has money. It's status, compressed into a bottle. When Luckin put Motai inside a coffee cup, they were not making a weird drink, they were making a statement. We are Chinese, this is our, not theirs. 5.4 million cups sold on day one. 1 day sales. That's not a product launch, that's a cultural movement. And Starbucks, with all its brand, equity and marketing budget, could not have made that move, because it would have felt fake coming from them. Luckin is not slowing down. Singapore, Malaysia, they have already testing international expansions with same app, first delivery, low price model. And there are active reports that Luckin is exploring a new listing on a major exchange. The company kicked off Nasdaq for fraud is considering going back with real numbers. But the road ahead has real problems. The first one is a name you probably don't know yet: Luckin Coffee. Founded in 2022. Ultra aggressive expansion. Prices even lower than Luckin. App first model, same playbook entirely, and here is the detail that makes this almost poetic. Luckin Coffee was founded by Charles Liu, the same man the Luckin board removed for orchestrating the fraud. He took the exact system he built, left the company, and is now using it to attack his own creation. Luckin made the blueprint. Their posted founder is now their most dangerous competitor. Then there's a Starbucks. They hired Brian Nicole as their new global CEO in 2024, the man who turned Chipotle from a struggling brand into a machine. His mandate is to fix Starbucks globally. China is a specific priority. So Luckin may be about to face the best run version of Starbucks it has never competed against. And here is a structural problem nobody's talking about. Luckin's entire model works on volume and low margins. It works beautifully when you are growing at 2,000 stores a year. But at 16,000 stores, growth slows, costs don't. What happens to a low price model when the economics of scale start working against you? Nobody has answered that yet, including Luckin. And I want to end on the thing I cannot resolve, and I mean that generally I have thought about this for weeks and I still don't have a clean answer. Luckin Coffee committed fraud. That is not a gray area. $310 million in fabricated revenue. Real investors lost real money, and real people made a calculated decision to lie repeatedly to regulators and to the public. The people who did it faced consequences, termination and settlements and legal actions. Justice, partial, imperfect, was served. But the company came out stronger. The fraud forced leadership reset that nobody would have chosen voluntarily. It stripped out the people, creating the reckless, fake it till you make it culture. It scared the new management into running a real business. And now 16,000 stores are serving real coffee to real people. Tens of thousands of employees have real jobs. The company is generating real revenue. So what do we call that? Because if a person commits a crime, faces partial consequences and then builds something generally good from the wreckage, we have a word for that. Rehabilitation, redemption. But if a company does it, we don't seem to have a word. We just watch the stock price and move on. The fraud was real, the comeback is real, both things are true at the same time, and I think the uncomfortable question nobody in financial media wants to sit with is this: did the investors who got hurt by the fraud opportunity from the most successful corporate turnaround of the decade? Before I sign off, I just want to tell you roughly that this types of video creation takes a lot of time and research and efforts. So I want you help me to support and continue my work in form of subscribe, likes and comments, so I feel that my time is paying off and you are loving these types of content. So I hope you will support our channel and show up your love. I'm Hazy and this has been the Monarch Report. If that question is still in your head, that's why this channel exists. Subscribe. Every video here is a story that changes how you see money and power, and drop your answer below: redemption or getting away with it. I genuinely want to know where you land.